Hello everyone and welcome to Everyday's Kitchen. In the video today I'd like to share with you how to make butter at home. I know it may sound quite impossible to some of you because I myself also did think that it's complicated and take a lot of effort to make butter, but in fact it's super easy to make butter at home. And the only ingredient that we need is whipping cream. Personally, I don't think that homemade butter is cheaper than the store-bought one, but it tastes really wonderful. And this is a very great way to use leftover whipping cream or the cream which is over whipped. On top of that, you can make any flavored butter that you like, for example garlic and herb butter or honey lemon butter. First, prepare some ice water and put your mixing bowl into this ice water. Then pour the whipping cream into this bowl. Make sure that your cream has at least 30% fat. Actually, the more fat the cream has, the more butter we can make, so heavy cream or thickened cream with 40 to 45% fat is really good. And also, we want the cream to be cold. So what we're going to do now is to whip the cream on high speed so that it will get thicker. The reason why I put the mixing bowl into the ice water is that it helps the cream get whipped faster and it also gives smooth butter in the end. An alternative method is to chill your mixing bowl in the fridge for about 30 minutes before whipping the cream. After some minutes, we will see that the cream turns into very stiff like this. If we need whipped cream, for example, to frost our cake, then we can stop here. But to make butter, we need to go further than this point. Continue whipping at high speed, we will see that the cream gets drier and not smooth anymore. As we whipped, it's getting more and more grainy and its color even changed into light yellow as well. And after some minutes, we will see that there is some water in the bowl and also the cream gets very lumpy. Making butter is actually separating the fat from the milk. So the lumpy yellow thing that you see in the bowl is the fat from whipping cream and the water is the buttermilk. Just go ahead and whip for some more minutes until we really separate the fat from the buttermilk in a bowl like this. There is a small note here that in the final stage, it's best to whip the cream at the lowest speed because the water spatters quite hard. If you use a stand mixer, then you can use a lid or some plastic wrap to cover the bowl. And if you don't have a mixer, then a food processor is also very good for this. When it seems that all the fat has been separated from the milk, drain this through a sieve and we will have fresh butter in the sieve. And what we got in the bowl is the buttermilk. Next, we are gonna put all of this butter into a clean bowl and use a spoon to push out any remaining liquid in the butter. All of this liquid is buttermilk. You can save it and drink it later or use it for cooking and baking, such as to make pancakes, breads, etc. Coming back with the butter, pour some ice water into the bowl and gently squeeze the butter with your clean hand. We will see that the water turns more cloudy like this, and this means that there is still buttermilk in the butter. We want to push the buttermilk out because if it's still there, it will spoil the butter like in 1 or 2 days. So if you want to use the butter straight away, you can skip this step. But if you want to keep it for 1 week or even more, then you should definitely do this rinsing butter in ice water. And note that it should be ice water because otherwise the butter will melt. So when the water is very cloudy, then we can replace it with some new ice water and continue squeezing the butter until the water is completely clear like in the video. So here's our fresh homemade butter. It's really easy making it, isn't it? This butter is very good for cooking, but be careful when you use it in baking because the fat content in this butter is different from commercial butter which is normally used in baking recipes. I did use some for my bread and it tastes really great, but I'm not sure that it works for every recipe, so just a small note for you to be careful. This butter can stay in the fridge for 1 week and you can also freeze them to use for about 2 months. So have a lot of fun with making butter at home. Thank you very much for watching and see you again in other videos of Everyday's Kitchen. Bye bye!